It's great to be with you on Brunch with Brian this morning. It's a Monday. We're about halfway through October. And today I want to talk about the simple steps of every deal. Let's just keep it simple. Now, every single real estate deal you do has lots of steps. There's actually 36 steps to the Pretty House deal. It's a lot of steps, and you're never going to remember them all. So what do you have to do? You have to follow a checklist. And so what's the simplest checklist? How can we break the business down? Real estate investing, home investing. How can we break this down in the simplest possible chunks? Okay. And this is how I've always thought about it in my head. And I sort of have it already, sort of this skeletal framework in my mind. So whenever I think of home investing, my mind, my engineer brain, my thinker brain automatically breaks it down into these component parts. And this will be helpful for you to be able to think about it this way. Sometimes there's a theory called chunking. And this theory, chunking, means don't take things too, you have to pick the right digestible bites for things. Okay, so sometimes home investing, the whole business might seem overwhelming because there's a lot of different parts, and there's 7 different kinds of deals, and there's 5 kinds of sellers and 5 kinds of buyers, and there's a lot of different paperwork, and so it could seem overwhelming. But when you break it down into these simple component parts, it's not so overwhelming. The first part is just business setup, and again, I've talked about this a lot. The way to pick your LLC name, getting your phone system set up. And this is a big part of this now is social media, which we never used to talk about as much, but getting your business Facebook page set up and other social media. So that's your business setup, getting your bank account, the basics that you would need to do for any business. Then after that, then we get to, you have to find customers. Because if you don't have customers, you don't have anything. So you have to do some marketing. And so first is setup. Number 1, setup. Number 2, marketing. And you don't have to market for buyers right in the beginning, although you'll accumulate buyers quickly. As soon as you have a property, you're going to be thick with buyers. So let's first focus on marketing to sellers. So this would be the marketing to sellers part, and that part of that is going to be your Facebook page and having your social media set up and ready to go. And then you're going to do some, there's tons of social media. You should know that we have a social media system that's very affordable, that takes you through all the main platforms, how to set up on them, how to get going on them, and how to start making money. Okay, so there's, if you're interested in that, and we even do some consultations to make sure you're set up. So you got to be set up before you can figure out where you're going to go from there. And then you're going to, through your marketing, develop leads through your social media as well as other methods. The method we really love is getting referrals. And you can actually just, from people on your phone right now, if everybody on your phone even really knew and understood what you're doing, you could probably be getting a couple of referrals a month off of that. And so you have a lot of people. There's 60 different local professionals and local businesses that could be sending you leads and would also be very interested in your leads, in your no leads, and would pay you for them. So if you haven't heard about our referral system, ask about our referral riches system. Referral riches through selling and buying leads. So that's another way to get your marketing machine going. So it's important that you're talking, basically, what is the marketing? What's goal of marketing? Number 2, marketing, what's the goal? That you're talking to 20 to 50 sellers per month. And some of them are qualified. You have some qualification process. So, you don't want to have them all be outbound calls. If at least some of them are calling you, that's very preferable. What's the next step? So we got business setup, we got marketing, and then you're going to have to start talking to customers. And so that's where we do the steps of the business that are the opening call, closing call, and deal meeting. So that's our steps of the internal deal once you start talking to the customer. Okay, so the opening call, That can be handled by a VA sometimes, or you can do your own for sale by owner calls. In the beginning, I did, and we have an awesome script for that, our FSBO opening call script. So, you can always use our FSBO opening call script. That's terrific. And you can also use, our incoming seller call, or our opening call for landlords, our landlord opening call. All those are opening call scripts. So that opening call has to happen. And the goal of that is just gathering the information and building some rapport and credibility. Then this is where it really, the rubber meets the road. This is where it gets very intense, and where you have to be trained and you have to be practiced up. And that's why I want you to do role plays, because this is where the closing call happens. So if you look at the steps, we're chunking this business, in not too many steps, but not too few. So business setup, marketing, opening calls, because once the marketing happens, you're going to be talking to customers. Opening calls, closing calls is number 4. And then what happens after the closing call? What's the point of the closing call? To come to a meeting of the minds and set the deal appointment. So let's get that, meeting of the minds, that they agree that they're willing to do some type of owner financing, seller financing, or whatever kind of deal it is. They're willing to sell you it for wholesale for a good enough price, or they're willing to sell it to you on a lease purchase, or whatever. Some terms that make this a favorable deal to you have been negotiated in the closing call. So a meeting of the minds that makes sense for both parties. It has to be a win-win, obviously. And then the deal meeting is set. So that's obviously the next step. Number 5 is the deal meeting. Now, if you can get out there on deal meetings, and sometimes they're virtual, and you're going to be at the kitchen table with them, and your phone's going to be there, and you're going to be filling out paperwork or whatever. And so sometimes it's a virtual deal meeting, and a lot of times you're there. But that's really where the paperwork gets filled out, and where all the talking becomes real. And so that deal meeting is such a crucial step. Number 5. Then the next step is the final attorney closing, and they have to pull title and do some other things that are involved with that. So, but that's really the steps. Now, once you do the attorney closing, then obviously you guys own the house, and then you have to turn around and do what? You have to start the process. You're already busy. Your business is already set up, so you don't have to do that over again. But you do have to start the marketing over again. But now you're marketing for buyers. Okay, so now we're marketing for buyers, and then after we market for buyers, then we do the same procedure: opening call, closing call, and deal meeting. And sometimes that opening call, closing call, deal meeting is all in one at a 1-hour open house. So that's it. That's the whole business. You close with the buyer, and you just start collecting the money. So if you're looking at the whole business as a whole, the entire home investing business is what we just went through, all the steps. I'm going to go through them one more time if you're trying to take notes. Because there's the seller end, and getting that first house, and then flipping it to a buyer. So it starts with business setup, and I've gone over that. After business setup, it's what? Marketing, then opening call. Okay, so business setup 1, marketing 2, opening call 3, closing call 4, deal meeting, this is seller deal meeting 5, and then attorney closing 6. So that's the front half of the business, the 6 steps of the front half of the business. Then what do you got to do on the back end of the business? The steps are get the house ready to sell is number 1. And sometimes it's already perfect and you don't have to do that step. You can skip it. Or if it's a work for equity, you skip over that step. You just clean the house up. Some people call it a trash out. Okay, so then you get the house ready to sell. 1, market, just like on the front end, but now you're marketing for buyers. And then the same 3-step procedure of the deal occurs: opening call, closing call, deal meeting. But again, you could do all those at once at the 1-hour open house. Now, after that, do you need an attorney appointment for that one, like you did step number 6 on the seller? We're going to tell you yes, because especially if you're collecting a big non-refundable option deposit, 20 or 30,000, you want to protect your interests and make sure they understand everything. So yes, you would have another deal meeting at the end of that one. Okay, so that's the 6 steps to the front half and the 6 steps to the back half. Chunking the business appropriately can make you see sort of how it all works together, and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, which can be exciting. And remember, you collect your check as soon as you do that deal meeting with the buyer. And sometimes that deal meeting with the buyer can happen within a day or two of doing your deal meeting with the seller. You can actually get paid on a Pretty House creative financing terms deal, within days, not months or weeks. So this is a good crash course on the whole business today. Good way to start off your Monday, and look at all those steps and see where you're hung up. Okay, are the opening calls not getting made right? Are the closing calls not being made promptly or professionally? Or are you not doing enough marketing? Or are you not doing enough buyer marketing? Whatever. So look at that whole chain of steps and see where your business needs the most attention, and then give it attention. We all need attention in certain areas. So guys, and we want to give you a lot of positive attention and a lot of great tips here on Brunch with Brian. So that's what we're all about. I know the steps of the business. Okay, that's our affirmation for today. 1, 2, 3. I know the steps of the business. 1, 2, 3. I know the steps of the business. That's right. You guys know the steps of the business. And now you're going to go out there and, work those steps and make it work for you. Okay, let's do our breathing. Deep breath in. Hold it for a second and let it go. Another deep breath in. Great way to start the day, with a big smile and deep breathing. Another deep breath in. And let it go. Relax your shoulders, your neck. Dear God, give us a beautiful day today and help us succeed in all of our goals and helping others. So see you guys until we see you tomorrow at the same time. Keep expecting success, getting awesome training, and taking action.